All right, thanks, Matt. All right, we've got Zoe Riederman versus Adam Wasburn-Moses, Mono Green Devotion, Mono Humans, both players 2 and 4. There was an error in the display last round, so that's why Zoe did lose her last match, but she was 2 and 3 at the time, which was incorrectly displayed. So these are the correct records, and we are underway. These players trying to avoid being in the bottom 2.
Yeah, loser here goes home. And, you know, for Zoe, that's a 5-minute drive. And for Adam, it's a 10-hour drive. So the stakes are maybe not the same for everybody on that end of things, but everyone wants it, and no one wants to be some of the first people out here. As we see, Adam have a very similar draw to what we saw Jesse Robkin do against Theo, you know, just a couple rounds ago, and sort of interact early and put pressure.
But no Thalia. So did we just swap the names? What just happened? Anyway,
the names are messed up right now. Don't worry. That's Zoe Riederman on your left. That's Adam Wasburn-Moses over here on your right. And, you know, things are going to be taken care of in just 1 second here. We got Olgo Troll to stabilize the battlefield here. But that was the last piece of gas for Zoe. So if this Olgo Troll gets answered, she could be in serious trouble.
All right. So for Adam here, we're just looking for pressure. And, okay, I mean, that's – Thalia is disruptive, but that's not pressure. That's nothing there's going to attack through.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, Zoe can just cast her Storm of the Festivals through the Thalia because she has so many lands here. This is the difference between having, like, you know, the turn 2 play versus not having it, right? All that Adam did was attack for 2 here. So Zoe here on your left resolves the Storm of the Festival, finds Ultra Troll and Cavalier Thorn. She's going to get to draw 2 cards and then see what she finds off the top 5.
All right. So, okay, looking for any sort of gas here, really, I guess.
It's
hard to really miss too badly, but, well, all right. I mean, Bosechu is that the worst line to hit?
Maybe. I guess, like, it's one that's legendary, so if you draw another one, you know, you're going to have to lose the land. So I guess that's the worst, but it's still a mana source from underneath the Thalia. Yeah, and Zoe is looking great here. The one card she is really worried about now is Brave the Elements. That's going to be one of your cards to look out for in the player's hands. Oh, yeah, she is in store.
We saw that earlier. Well, yeah, she's going to need it. No, I mean, sitting at 20 life, you have to feel okay.
Yeah, and finding Karn that you're creating, you have to also feel pretty good about things too. This might be a spot where we see Zoe sort of storm the festivals just to... I guess she no, she can't think yet. She can storm the festival and just sort of, you know, try and find other pieces like a Nykthos or whatever, and then win on the next turn. Could also see maybe Zoe play Karn here and grab Cauldron so that, you know, if Adam wants to attack down the Karn, he's going to need to lose some of his creatures or use to Brave the Elements. You see Adam counting. He's like, all right, well, I can't do it right now. We'll have to figure out what I'm going to actually do. And so I figure out what exactly she wants here. You might see her grab Haywire Might. And the reason for that is it's the thing that you can play and have a blocker through Brave the Elements. So maybe not very good this turn, but in future turns
there's
no
elf. It can come down now. So yeah, that's something.
Yeah, Zoe's also got so many Storm Festivals that she might just like eat a couple things in combat and then just let the Karn die and save that Haywire Might. So a lot of different plays available to her here.
And Adam really, I mean, not all that threatening.
Yeah, he doesn't have like an Adeline or Thalia. Yeah. You know, even if he drew running Brave the Elements, it would still be 2 turns and Zoe could maybe win in that time. And you have to send a lot of Haywire Might. So,
I mean, if there's a Brave the Elements here, is this just an assault on the Planeswalkers?
It might have to. Yeah, we do see Adam cast the Brave the Elements. And he has to send at least 3 things at Karn or Haywire Might can block. And that means he can send 2 at Zoe. But Zoe doesn't have to block with her Haywire Might at all if she doesn't want to. So with that being the case, it gets really awkward really fast.
I was trying to straighten this up. Yeah, maybe even you just send the 3 to... There's 3 creatures that can survive Haywire Might. He could send those 3 at Karn and then just not even attack with the other ones. Nope, that's not going to be the choice. I guess he doesn't figure out losing a Dauntless Bodyguard is too painful right now.
Yeah. The other weird thing with Haywire Might is you also gain a life when it dies. So if you decide to, eat one of these things so that next turn you don't have to worry about a 2-1, right? You're gained 2 more life as well. Zoe only taking 2. But really, all Adam's done is actually force Zoe to start a race. And it looks like she decided to block one of the things attacking her, so her life total is going to stay the same. And that's going to make it so Brave the Elements plus Thalia's Lieutenant is not a lethal draw.
Right, and well, Ogle's Troll is fine because there was a card. And yeah, Zoe's got, okay, she's just going to go, well, all right.
Yeah, it looks like she's
going to think about this for a second.
I imagine if she minuses the Cure and casts Storm the Festival, even if she hit land, she can just replay another Old Ghost Troll, and that'll put her in a pretty great spot because she just started attacking. Like, she is pretty close to lethal. Oh, Sky Sovereign.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is, and 2 cards. And yeah, and the Nykthos. This hit the works. This hit too much.
Yeah, Adam is like, and we're live, it looks like, too.
Hey, you all viewers at home thought we'd get through the entire round without stream crashing. That was optimistic of you, but thanks for being here. We are entering what is likely game 2. After Wasburn-Moses taking a mulligan here while down the game. We'll get the display updated momentarily, hopefully. And fingers crossed. We'll
in a second now for sure. And yeah, it looks like we have got another recruitment officer on the play here from an Elf Star from Zoe, and hopefully Adam has one of his powerful 2-drops. That's a lot of strength of this deck. Is it's going 1-2 into a powerful through the interacts or an Adelaine.
All right, we'll see it. And there is Luminarch Aspirant. That counts.
Yeah. And you can already see the difference in thinking about it between this game and last, right? Adam having something to do on turn 2 just means so much more damage is coming out, and Zoe has so much less time to fiddle around and set up her mana.
And yet, decent start here for her as well. Oath with a green floating. And lots of potential for next turn now. 1, 2, 3. Getting to looking like she'll be at 5 mana at least next turn, and there is a Nykthos in hand as well. We'll see what Adam has to say about that. There are potentials for Brutal Cathars or Skyclave Apparitions to pick off mana producers, but there's another elf.
Yeah, and I'm just going to play it and just be like, okay, I'm going to have a bunch of mana and a card, and we can see something like, Sky Sovereign just come down and maybe clean things up a little bit for Zoe if she's able to stabilize to that point. And Adam drew with Thalia, so has a couple options available to him. Only has 2 lands right now, though. So he's going to have to figure out exactly what he's going to do. And like we've seen from all our Mono White Humans players today, you're going to need to really think about what you're going to want to do and then sort of execute through your turn. So,
yeah, good chunk of damage coming across here. And, all right, Portable Hold to take out Wolfwillow Haven.
Yeah. Interesting play.
Yeah, leaves the extra blockers in the field, but does make Kiora worse. And
ouch. And Adam Wasburn-Moses is probably dead. Probably can't win unless he has some sort of interaction spell from these creatures, because he has to kill the elves. Otherwise, the boat will get crewed, and then he'll just start losing his creatures. Also, Zoe just has Lair of the Hydra to animate and start attacking Adam.
Yeah. I mean, Zoe's at 9. If all her resources is expended on attacking with Sky Sovereign, maybe Adam can. I mean, it's not likely, but maybe Adam could raise that.
Yeah. I guess Zoe can play her 2 elves here, and then crew still have a blocker and kill the Thalia, and then go to 4.
She also, I guess, if she spent an elf, is it the same either way? You just get more loyalty. She could spend an elf, play Karn, and then animate the Sky Sovereign.
Oh, sure, yeah, that's actually just better.
Have 1 elf left to block, and then then Karn's at 6, so that makes it difficult for Adam.
Yeah, that means Zoe could grab another Skyboat if she left it in the sideboard, maybe. She probably brought it in this matchup. You see the players do that a lot, so their Storm of the Festivals have stronger hits. But yeah, Zoe can actually just, great point there, Joe. Play a Karn using the elf to pay the Thalia task. Play another elf, just might as well get it on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then from there, animate the boat and attack, and then Adam is losing his board in a pretty serious way.
All right, so that's not going to be the choice. This leaves back either the Lair or the last elf, because there's still another one in hand as the blocker. Thalia gets dispatched, and Adam will take some damage, and then I mean, probably playing the elf is better than using the lair to
Yeah,
block.
elf I
right?
assume is better than lair because elf can get has summoning sickness and stuff, but I don't know. You also maybe just don't want to block unless like the Dauntless Bodyguard's attacking.
Right.
This is part of the problem.
So this is enough to put Zoe on to, I guess. So maybe if there's a block here, and then a Brave the Elements next turn
It
might be
depends on if Adam has another white creature in hand, because right now Zoe can just do the Skyboat, even if she doesn't play Karn. She just decides that Karn's blank.
Yeah.
She's currently going to be able to push power through it. All right, so she does have the recruitment officer. Adam's not going to try and bluff anything. He's just going to play the land, a little choice there.
Yeah, no cards in hand. All right, this is.
And Nykthos,
yeah, I mean the Sky Sovereign is just. It's just that's a lot.
Yeah, and Nykthos is up a mana here too, so we get to play the Karn. And actually, you could see Zoe grab Haywire Might as well, and then you can pop the Haywire Might if she wanted to, and gain 2 life, get back the Wolfwillow Haven, or block or whatever. So a lot of choices here. And she's got a bunch of creatures. And so, yeah, it looks like she has 3 1/1s, but also just has a 2/2 with the Lair of the Hydra. So you could trade with the Mutavault if Adam wants to make that trade off of that trade. And
yeah, and this is, I mean, yeah, and that's Adam extends the hand. So Zoe Riederman will pick this one up, advance to 3 and 4, and probably ensure a spot in tonight's double elimination. Adam Wasburn-Moses may very well be done. We'll wait for Matt to clear that up for us, but probably the legacy aficionado there is probably
unfortunate there for Adam. These are 2 formats that he does participate with and does well. He got to the circuit. It's not like we have a ton of legacy events, but did sort of crush legacy events and sort of what he's more known for, I would say. But congratulations to Zoe. Had her back against the wall, had kind of a back-to-back sort of win-and-in situation. Was able to clutch up the last one in a matchup that is very hard, and so was able to navigate that and sideboard in a way in which she was able to more likely have Skyboats and win a game there. So congratulations to her.
Yeah. Okay. We have a backup match. Let's go ahead and get going. Last match of the group stage.
I love the group stage.
So do I, and we get so many complaints about it every year, and it's just, it may look clumsy from the outside if you just glance at it and don't actually pay attention to it. Yes, it looks maybe awkward, but from the inside, it's great. I really like it, which is part of the reason why we do it. All right, so we got Elbogan at 3-3, Kruger at 4-2. Kruger probably with a chance of advancing into the top 2 of the group.
Worth mentioning too that Kruger played this exact matchup last round. Jesse Robkin was his opponent, and he was able to win it. And Kruger even tweeted, "I think if I win this one, I'm going to make it into the top 8. Essentially, he's going to advance from his pod, and he thinks this is his best or second best matchup. So he's pretty excited to be seeing this one, even from the hands of someone like Angela Bogan, a Pro Tour champion." And so once again, Joe's turn 3. What does the white player do? Puts the hands in their head and thinks.
It really does seem to be a consistent thing here. This is where, is it Adeline? Is it a removal-ish creature? Instead, it's thought as Lieutenant to beef the board and put together, a sizable attack that, Lovestruck Beast kind of gets laughed at in a lot of matchups. Here, it looks pretty strong.
Yeah, if your opponent's trying to play a little dink for 2-1, you have to do a lot of work in order to trade. And Andrew has done the work, and Will is like, okay, I'll block. Andrew's like, all right, brave the elements. Hope this is good enough. And this is the sort of things you'll see in the bad matchups.
Right. And so this is also, we've seen and talked about brave the elements being, held back for Alpha Strikes. Here, it's just, okay, get rid of this Lovestruck Beast because, I want to preserve my creature. And, Will's deck also is not going to have just
in this deck, you're very lucky if it actually gives you the alpha, and a lot of times it's sort of removing 2 or 3 blockers, or doing that just being a protection spell. Andrew drew an Adeline, I think, which is pretty interesting here because he can actually grow the Dauntless Bodyguard up with the Lunar Gasman if you want to, or start growing the Adeline, and then now can attack in, offer a trade again, and grow the Thalius Lieutenant, so the next creature is going to happen. So Kruger, being on the draw here, falling a little bit behind.
Yeah, all right. And with the so with the ability to put out counters in multiple places with the aspirant, and then it's not lieutenant just growing on its own every turn. There's really a strong incentive even to attack every turn because the lieutenant will grow from the token, which Will can't effectively block at the moment. So yeah,
I think I really like putting the token on Adeline, because then if you do it again on the
Mhm.
next turn, it's bigger than a Love Struck Beast. And your Thalios Lieutenant is going to be a 3, so it also gives you the outside chance of put the Lieutenant, the next counter on that, then it's a 5/5 as well. So definitely complicated and a lot to think through. And Andrew Ellenbogen won his PT using these exact planes, playing a mono white aggro deck very similar to this one. So this is something he's, I would argue, good at minimum.
Yeah, at minimum, sure. And there's I mean the bodyguard growing once doesn't matter, growing twice matters. But at that point, you're like, I like what you said, that you just put the counters in the Adeline, so that can attack itself later on.
Yeah, there is some worry from Andrew about the card of Crow, where Kruger has 2 of those in his main deck. It's a card that threatens, takes a creature from your opponent and forces them to attack. So the Adeline could go on the other side, and that might be what Andrew is thinking about. Like, should I just pump the Thalios Lieutenant?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Kruger helping Andrew out here. Andrew probably said, get a counter, and Kruger's like, no doubt, down to help.
Yeah, so Will faced with, do you gobble the token and take 5?
Taking 5 is so much.
5 is a lot. 5 is
Yeah.
a lot. You trade. You could trade both. I mean, there's actually a lot of options here. He could gobble a token and chump block with his own token, or he could trade
I
off everything.
think I like holding the token for the gobble a little bit. Interesting. He's wanting to block. I was thinking that the Adeline was going to be bigger than this in the next turn, so it's worth being 1 turn and just taking 5 because you'll save 6 life instead. But yeah, it's a Kruger agrees and just going to, hope to sort of stall the board out with some bigger creatures. Maybe get some double blocks on the Adeline. And Stomp, they're a big draw from Kruger with that Bone Crusher Giant.
Yeah, getting rid of that Luminarch Aspirant certainly would be nice. That will keep the Adeline at 5 toughness. There's Fable. I can't tell all the cards in Kruger's hand. It looks like there's a lot of red ones, though.
Fable 2, Reckless Stormseeker, Hotchkiss Bodyguard, and Bone Crusher Giant are Kruger's 5 cards. His mana base being the Gruul one, that is a little bit sussy right now. They don't have great mana. It's sort of one of the biggest drawbacks in this deck, and something players are hoping that will improve over time. But here he's only able to do 1 spell, so he's got to figure out, like, okay, do I actually just stomp this Luminarch Aspirant so these other things don't grow? But if I do and he has a Brave the Elements, I'm in a hugely terrible spot. So I can play Fable and get more red mana for next turn. Looks like that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, all right. This does not solve the problem of getting attacked this turn, and I'm sure Andrew is going to be pushing in here with, at the very least, the Bodyguard, potentially the Adeline as well. Is that because it will get 6 toughness?
I think
now?
so. I think he drew a Thalios Lieutenant. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Andrew's like a big and another trigger. So pretty good draw there for Ellenbogen, as he can now, the Luminarch Aspirant still not big enough to tussle in combat, but bigger than the Bone Crusher Giant. So that's going to fall off when it comes to stomping on it. And then now you could put a counter on the Dauntless Bodyguard, and it would actually be bigger than the Love Struck Beast if you wanted to.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Everything's actually bigger because when you attack, you make a human, which means the Thalios Lieutenant will be a 6.
Yeah.
So I'd just say probably the best draw on Andrew's deck there. And if you're Kruger, you're, really feeling the pressure here. As there's going to be, you have to block 2 creatures. Otherwise, it's lethal if Andrew does it the way we talked about.
Right. Yeah, because there's going to be 3 6-power creatures. So Will has to block 2 of them. And that means, that's rough. I mean, he doesn't have. I mean, he's got 1 creature he probably doesn't mind throwing away, but he doesn't have 2.
Yeah. I wonder if Andrew has to just attack with the Luminarch Aspirant as well. Or gets to, I should say, in order to try and push damage. Looks like he's just going to attack with the creatures that are obviously safe to be attacking in multiples with.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the strength of the white deck. It gets a lot of bad press for just being, creatures and just stats, and you can just removal and outthink it, as Magic players love to do. However, in the real world, they have very low fail rates and apply a lot of pressure. And it does look like this Adeline is a 6.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. I mean, he's not going to get his bonus extra red mana next turn. He's going to be forced to just run off the top. I mean, we'll see a couple fresh cards from the Fable, but okay, we're not finalized on blockers yet.
Yeah, this block is just better. If you're going to block with the elf on the 1/1, you might as well keep your 2/2 goblin token by blocking the 1/1. So still lethal. Adeline's weirdly a 7/6 right now due to counter, so it's not 7/7. Pretty easy to mix that up. Yeah, and it looks like Kruger's going to fall to 6 as of right now. This is part of the reason why I mentioned maybe the Lunar Gathering coming in, just because it gets a little weird with blocks, but totally a great spot for Ellenbogen. You know, even if Kruger draws the Acrone War, he is going to still be in the game. And we get a little rummage here off the old Fable, the Mirror Breaker. 2 Storm Seekers. We're not attacking this game.
All right. So that's a null, and is that a Chariot maybe, which would provide some blocking, but is there still not a land? I don't think so.
There's still not a land.
All right. So
yeah. You see Andrew do the fist bumps there, you know. He's like, left a bad matchup, won it, and I get to be on the play no matter what for at least one more game. So greatness there. And, you know, Andrew doesn't want to see things happening. This matchup isn't good for him. So if he can keep Kruger out of top 8, right, so he's on stage 3, then that means he has more chances to beat Kruger maybe in the modern round, so he feels a bit more comfortable. So big things for Ellenbogen here. Even though he's just 3/3, you might normally think like, oh, a friend's going to scoop a friend. Not here. Not how it works.
There's no incentive to do that. And it's also matters for seedings later on. All right, let's go look at the sideboards or the deck list, especially Will Kruger's Gruul Vehicles deck, which if you haven't been paying attention to Gruul Vehicles, if your last time you saw it was, a month ago, it looks a little different now. Like you were saying.
Kruger went in and did some good work here. You know, a lot of people were playing Werewolf Pack Leader just a couple weeks ago. We have Haja Loyal Bodyguard now and Scavenging Ooze back in the deck. These 2 cards give you a little bit more game versus a variety of decks and interaction, and it also gives you Giganta in your sideboard. While Giganta, pretty lackluster in those formats, actually does a lot of good work here. In Pioneer, just a large body in your deck kind of floods out on mana. It's nice to have. Your side here, too, we have 2 more Crone Wars. We have the 4 Volleys. So 6 all-star sideboard cards for Kruger to bring in and sort of get a big edge in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he's all the tools here. Additional and the hostilities if he wants. Additionally, and the hostilities if he wants them. Can he even fit in that much? I mean, that's got to be why they're here, right? So...
Yeah, I guess that's why they're there. I'm trying to think of that. There might be a mono green thing where he just wants to kill multiple elves. Yeah, it's just like a portable upside. So,
yeah. All right, and let's look at Andrew's list. Popular deck. In fact, the most popular deck in Pioneer here this weekend.
Yep. Same one we've seen a couple times today between him and Jesse. From his main deck, it's just a little bit behind. All his creatures are a little weaker. They do outscale the Gruul deck, and we've seen that in the last game. So that's an advantage he has, but he really needs to have the pressure going on like that game. And in his sideboard, he has 2 Destroy Evils. These cards are going to be able to kill all the vehicles once they're activated, or a Lovestruck Beast. So while looking a little weird, that's a pretty easy include. And then the same goes for Brutal Cathar and Declaration Stone. As we've seen from these mono white decks, they sort of just play threat, interact, and then push damage. We're going to be seeing that play pattern happen here as well.
Let's see if they're ready to get back into it. Will Kruger again playing for likely the right to skip towards Sunday morning. He can make his own way to an early dinner and enjoy the rest of his evening if he wins this match. But Andrew Ellenbogen looks like he's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, Andrew's not going to be getting it for free. And Kruger kept... Oh, so Kruger did bring it into the festivities. Okay. I mean, it does make sense. There's a lot of excellence here. Maybe he just sideboards out a lot of his early creatures, like all his elves, and just becomes like a really Gruul, slow, interactive deck.
Well, maybe we'll find out. Maybe we can identify as the game goes along what he's missing. But there is Thali in play.
Ooh, a nice Carplusion Force.
And yeah, that's the real one. And that's an Obliterating Bolt to take care of that for 3 mana.
Oh.
The board staying empty is
Andrew here has wedding announcement. So it looks like he maybe predicted Kruger's going to go heavy on the removal. Maybe there was some discussion, or actually, Jesse Robkin, Andrew's teammate for testing this event, playing the same deck, Kruger. Maybe she told Andrew, he just had like 1 billion kill spells in game 2 and 3, and then now Andrew's sideboard accordingly.
Yeah, certainly. Perhaps it would be interesting. I don't know if this happened, if there was any partnerships where two players work together for Pioneer, but not work with each other for Modern.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is some of that. I'm not actually sure. I don't
Okay.
think I've heard any of that happening,
Yeah.
but it could.
Yeah.
Definitely a moment where, for the team of Andrew and Jesse, Jesse's sort of breach master, Andrew sort of mono white master. Both players obviously had a lot of great results with both of their decks, but they sort of got to lend their expertise to one another in that field, and then lean on the other one in the other spots. And wow, this is a start.
2 lieutenants again for even faster than last time for Andrew, and now actually debating an attack for 3 here or not, but it seems like that's something that you're definitely going to do. 3 comes across.
Mm-hmm.
Token comes in here. It's super nice. This is going to grow the lieutenants again.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm not actually sure if Andrew could have attacked. Yeah, I guess he couldn't have attacked either way. Yeah, but yeah, just wanted to make sure he was doing everything right there. And it's also a moment next turn where maybe if Andrew could have triggered the draw card, he doesn't want to because getting the body is actually way more important. And Kruger is under the gun here. He's got his Seeker's Chariot and a couple lands and a Sky Sovereign, so he is able to play Chariot and then give it haste and attack if he wants to, but a little bit awkward there, and he can play the Skyboat and kill a thing, but it's not the best play in the world. Mm-hmm. But it's maybe his best play that he has.
He can kill the best thing, which is not what you're used to against this matchup.
Yeah.
So the first lieutenant is still out there.
Yeah, and Andrew has Skyclave Apparition, so he can take this Reckless Stormseeker down if he wants to, and actually just slam in for a bunch. His Hopeful Initiate as well, get a couple triggers, draw some cards, and he doesn't know what's in Kruger's hand. It looks like Kruger just has 2 Asika's Chariots, so the board is going to get a little stalled, but the wedding announcement is going to become the wedding celebration in just a second, and all these creatures are going to become much larger.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. And then with Chef at Dunes also, when Andrew's going wide here, potential to add more counters maybe in the next turn or so, because he's going to have a bunch of stuff on the board. Yeah. And, I mean, what is a Sky Sovereign going to get crewed and attack next turn and then just leave a little wide open? That doesn't seem feasible.
I think what Andrew's maybe doing, though, is he's playing the Hopeful Initiate, and he's going to attack. And then when Kruger goes to crew and attack, he's going to use Hopeful Initiate to kill the artifact. So it's
that makes sense if he's even thinking he's going to get attacked. And here's an attack for just Lieutenant. So you're right about that. Andrew's prioritizing the creatures over the cards from the wedding announcements.
Yeah, and he has his Hopeful Initiates. Now there can't be an attack. It's just going to be so dangerous. And it also means that, if Kruger plays something like the Asika's Chariot, Andrew gets to decide if he wants to kill the Chariot in return, but he doesn't have to. And he's just sort of fine, holding his mana up and making it so Kruger can't start mowing his board down with a Sky Sovereign or something like that. So it's going to be very awkward. And then on the next turn, too, I guess, Andrew's like, you're going to crew up your Chariot. If you do, I'll kill it. And that's a very awkward spot to be.
Yeah, Hopeful Initiative. Threatening a lot, even though it hasn't done anything. But just his presence on the board here really is going to gum things up for Will.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Dromoka's command in its format when it came to sort of, limiting enchantments and artifacts. This card is a very similar thing where you have to really mean it if you're going to play one of those cards. I don't know what Kruger's supposed to do.
It looks bad. All right, so here is Chariot.
Oh, had the cats ready to go. Let's go cover Twitter.
Dakota Clark on spotting this video, probably just sitting there all day long waiting for opportunities to make his presence known and help make a use out of himself. Throws those tokens out there, and Will's like, all right, I was hoping to give time finding my own tokens to buy myself time to figure out what to do here.
Yeah, I was wanting a little bit more time, my friend. Give me a moment.
All right, so Hopeful Initiate takes down Sky Sovereign.
In the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a spot where we can initiate again, right? And then if we do that, we can kill the Catmobile, but we don't have to since we're actually just quite larger than everything else going on. And we have the Skyclave Apparition in hand, so that might be a better way instead of shrinking our board presence. We also have a very weird attack with our Thalia's Lieutenant, activate Castle Ardenvale line. a lot of play to this mono white deck, despite looking like just a creature deck that attacks and blocks.
And okay, sure.
Oh,
Wipe out a token here. Force Will to make up his mind on crewing or not if he wants to use that token.
Yeah, Kruger's basically saying you can't remove the counter from white now, right? And Andrew's like, yep, can't do that. And now this is the awkward spot, right? Where Kruger, if you're going to crew, you have to do it all at once, which means he'll commit Andrew to losing power, which might be nice for Kruger long term, and losing mana. But if he does that, he's going to lose the chariot. So we know Kruger has 2 more chariots in hand, but he's maybe trying to get Andrew to do some weird plays here. It looks like Andrew's just going to attack and then trigger training on his hopeful initiate.
I like it. And it's gone. Andrew forces the issue, and Will Kruger in good position, but probably not going to skip through tomorrow. He's going to have to play tonight.
Yeah, it's really hard. Even your best matchups you can lose, especially in a format like Pioneer where it's kind of hard. And it sounds like maybe Andrew, adapted to what was going on and kept the kind of right hands and had them. And also, you just sometimes are on the play and win your good matchups. It's, it's magic. It happens.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that is going to be the end of the group stage. So we're going to take a break. Map and Monte will come back, update you on where things are standing, and then we will have double elimination modern for the rest of the night. We'll have 3 rounds. 8 of the players will be involved in that. If they win 2 matches, they're through tomorrow. If they lose 2, they are out. And so that's where we stand. Mason, if you're enjoying his commentary, he'll be back here tomorrow morning to take over the Pioneer double elimination rounds. But in the meantime, Becky Bell's going to step in for the modern rounds this evening. So that's where we're at. Mason, awesome job.
Yeah, see y'all then. Have a good rest of the day. I'll be in the chat.
All right. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.